school students, youth leaders, university students, corporates, young professionals, and people in leadership and governance situations. And again, I was honored to have Professor P.L. Lumumba, Effie Hunja. We had Johnston Mwakazi. Then he was more leaner than he is today. And we had the late Dr. James Mageria, who had the third Shimika Summit at Ufungamano House, again with Dr. James Mageria. Professor P.L. Lumumba, he addressed the audience then via technology, and the Judge Lee Mudoga. And then in 2016, we had yet another big moment. I'm just picking the highlights at the KICC, where we commissioned, again, another group of about 200 strategic influencers in our society. That was our last summit. And I must say at that point, one of the people that came through our program ended up becoming a very prominent leader in our society as a principal secretary. She's not able to be with us today. I think derogatorily that even the shape of the continent is like a question mark. What is wrong? That's unfortunate, but we don't do much to prove otherwise, that we are only a continent of questions, but we don't interrogate the answers. And so Heshimika speaks to the fact that, that we already have what it takes, but how do we unleash it? How do we release it? And we have done that in many ways, and the issues that we know we must deal with, especially among the progressive youthful thinkers who subscribe to this program, there are issues of self-depletion or learned helplessness. What can I do? How many of you had that said? What Mwakazi presented to us. We all feel we are helpless. We fold our hands and push back, or we sit on our hands and we feel we can't do anything. The issues of examination-focused education. So how many people are so educated but they are unlearned? Kenya has one of the most literate society, population in the continent, but the issues we deal with does not show as much. Ethnic stereotypes and all that, faith, bigotry. And only recently, about 3 weeks ago, there was some statistics that were shown around us in the public domain that 31 million Kenyans applied for visa to go to US. You remember we had a population of 51. So 31 million Kenyans don't want to be in Kenya. What does that speak to us? Issues of crime and theft of public resources. We call it corruption, we call it misappropriation of funds. It sounds so nice when you say misappropriation. It is theft. So if there are thieves of public resources, there must be criminals to get it from the thieves. To balance it out, I think. And so Heshimika speaks to three things: human dignity, professional integrity, patriotic activation, and accountability. And again, there are testimonies upon testimonies, and I don't know whether our sound team will have a moment to show us videos, but I'll highlight one or two. And how this is done, how we do it for the last 10 years, and we have every reason to believe is the right way, is we do mentorship, we do training, and we do coaching on three areas: virtues, values, and principles. Say VVP. Virtues, values, and principles. So virtues configure your person. Values challenge your professionalism. And principles challenge your sense of citizen participation and patriotism. And we have excellency. For personal excellency, the one thing that I think summates it all to date, a hashtag, transformed transformers. That is what summates what we have seen, those who come through this program. Lady, she has spoken in the previous sessions, and time will not allow for us today because we want to condense all this. Granted that we began late, we want to be faithful to ending on time. But this lady, I was invited to Kiganjo Police College in about 2011. And then the new constitution, now it's no longer new, it's the constitution. We keep calling it new constitution. The constitution had changed the title of the police from police force to police, service. So I was invited to go and help the police to understand and acclimatize that they are no longer just a force, they are a what? A service. She was then an acting inspector of police. And after we did the session, she came to Nairobi for one-on-one executive coaching for about 2 weeks. She went through the session, and she says the first pillar of excellency, which is excellency of conscience, spoke to her in this way. She went back, and when she was she went back, and one morning she left her room and went to the college side. And when she got on the other side of the road, she looked at her room and she saw the lights were on. Ordinarily, she said she'll just leave and continue the rest of the day and she'll come and switch it off. After all, ni mali ya serikali and I don't pay the light bills. She said her conscience never allowed her. So she went back, switched off the light, and then went back feeling comfortable the rest of the day because her conscience could not allow her to just let that happen. Many years later, a few months later, she came to my office. She had an opportunity to apply pillar number 4, constant improvement, to go to German and do some studies. Yesterday, she just sent me a text that she's now in the spirit of constant improvement. Today's maximum, tomorrow's minimum. She's now doing her master's. She set up, on a patriotic front, she set up one of the most dynamic police community relation, what do you call it? Community policing project that has been recognized at very high levels. It is called Polycare. And ladies and gentlemen, in our presence today, we have, then she was an acting inspector or a pretending inspector. Today she's superintendent of the police. I want her to come just to say hello to you because she's right here. Let's appreciate Madam Superintendent of Police, Zipporah Deritu. She can say hello in 1 minute.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, when he describes you, I think you just want to go to heaven and tell God, he's talking about me. Give me eternal peace. But because we are right here, got to know. So, Mungu akanisaidia. So, thank you so much. I could talk 1,000 words. I could spend the whole day here. But every day there is continuous improvement. He tells me that if you are so competent today, that is tomorrow's mediocrity. Oh, that killed me. I thought I was comfortable as a police officer from a D- to a good certificate. And of course, compared to my age mate, I was okay. Then he said that's tomorrow's mediocrity. So I took my certificate. I bridged my classes. I did my undergraduate with criminology with Egerton University. I met him, I called him, I thought this was success, so I thought he would come and grace the occasion. And when everybody was celebrating me, he told me, this is mediocrity today. Tomorrow, this degree doesn't work. So I'm back to school at Kenyatta University. I'm taking a master's in leadership. And through it all, I have using the good reforms that are coming. We're changing. Please, and allow me to make this appeal. Police wanabadilika. We want to give the best we can. We are on the roadmap to reforms, but the public will not allow us. You're still reminding us that we are D-minuses. You're still reminding us that we have only changed our uniform. No, we've also changed our attitude, our behavior. We are changing, and allow us and help us, give us the environment to grow. When did you ever stop your car and say hello to a police officer? When did you see them being rained on and you pulled your umbrella and gave them? Yet, we hoot and ask them to clear traffic because probably we are getting late. I went to Mombasa and I wanted to rush this M-Pesa girl. And I wanted her to do it quickly. Akaniambia, mama, ungekuwa na haraka ungekuja jana, hizo pesa ungetuma jana. So why, kama uko na haraka, then be early, get early, but don't hold, because you don't know the instructions he's been given. Maybe there is an accident, there is an ambulance that needs to be cleared, or probably just use the express. But if you're down here, let's be nice to officers. Say good morning. Saa zingine, they will not always, because hatujazoea pia kusalimia.
Excellence and what else? Patents, if it is to be, it is up to who? It's up to.
And a few minutes ago.
And the commentaries of great Muslim scholars. But yet, they don't think the way that, to me, is what gives meaning to a shemika. Arouse your conscience so that when you go out there, you are a warrior for that which is good and right. And when you are a warrior for that which is good and right, you make very many people and sometimes is to do exactly that. You speak with the firmness that opens people's eyes. And let me tell you, when you do that, even your enemies, one I call the John the Baptist approach, and the other one I call the Nathan approach. There are occasions which will define how you relate. He's ultimately arrested. He never leaves prison. Salome asks for his head and he dies. There is a time when you can shout that your head will be of the prophet Nathan, who goes to Daud in Islam.